So, on today's episode of Mental Health, I'm going to be talking to another friend of mine by the name of Imani. And on this topic, we're going to be discussing mental health and religion, how the two subjects go hand in hand. So, thank you, Imani, for coming once again to my podcast.
My absolute pleasure, and thank you, Chidi, for inviting me.
So so my first question is, why do you think people in the religious environment, why do you think there, there's this big stigma around religion and mental health?
So why do I think that people in their religious environment,
Yep.
if they have mental health issues, it's stigmatized, yeah? Right. That's absolutely huge, because I'll tell you what, the first religion that I thought about with this stigmatization is Christianity, but in particular, I would say, from my experience, African Christianity, which is quite big in itself. So I can narrow that down even a little bit further, maybe, and say Nigerian Christianity. I've not experienced in my life people, so like they call it Western, just to, try to clarify it here.
Yeah.
Christians having seen mental health as a taboo. Well, that's what I've experienced in particular, I'm going to say again, Nigerian Christianity. Yeah.
And why do you think Nigerian Christianity?
Yeah, I'm going to come to it. Yeah, I'm going to come to that. And I think that's to do with ignorance in the true sense of the word, not having information about what mental health, or what I like to call mental wholeness. Your mental wholeness is not whole, it's not well, it's fragmented. There are problems. But I don't think that some religions, especially like I'm saying Nigerian Christianity, I don't think that they see that. I think they believe in other entities, if you like, playing a part in that. Maybe, what do you call it now? Lost for my words now. Yeah, other entities, other demons, if you like, coming into somebody's life. Or maybe they also believe, again, this is from conversations, that the family has sinned.
Yeah.
These arguments as to why the child may, or the older person may be suffering from mental health problems. They may not necessarily see that maybe the person has lost a child, that the person is having real financial difficulties, problems in the family, not getting the proper support in terms of conversations and perhaps counseling, which conversations is counseling, that the person needs. So maybe the person has been abused and not spoken to anybody about it. And then that can develop into mental unwellness because you've not been able to speak. You've been scared to speak. So that manifests itself in unwellness.
So
mental unwellness.
So you just picked up on Nigerian people, or Nigerian as a country as a whole, but then other people might say, well, is it just Nigeria, or is it black people in general?
I'm back. Please accept my apologies. A call came through and I had to just quickly text back. So thank you for that.
It's all right. So yeah, like I was so you mentioned um Nigerian people, but then
Nigerian, yes, yes.
Nigerian culture, but then some people would say, well, that why are you singling out Nigerian
I'm
people?
singling out that because that's the only people I've had conversation with around what I would call mental wholeness or mental health. I've not spoken to anybody else about that, and I'm not aware of any other religions. Obviously, there's not just Christianity, but
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any other religions where there's that stigma. And of course, it must exist. I'm not aware of it.
So what do you think we can do as a body or as a society to kind of eliminate that stigma?
Well, people say that everything comes down to education, but it goes really, really deep. If you believe something for so very, very long, it's hard to change your perception. But that's the only thing I can think of. I digress a little bit, but I'm thinking about female genital mutilation. Are you hearing me? Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, because all these calls are coming through. Female genital mutilation. So when I was working with women maybe 15 years ago now, looking at this whole issue of FGM
Yep.
and trying with their support workers to educate them as to why this is child abuse and it's wrong, it was incredibly difficult. I thought I would just be able to, show them a few clips about how terrible this is, how horrendous it is, try to educate them along with other people within their community, advocates against this, try to educate them that this is a bad thing to do, etc. It wasn't working. It was very, very, it felt like almost near impossible. Why? Because they had been doing this practice. This in particular was East African women, and I know that FGM goes across areas of Africa and other parts of the world. It used to be practiced in England, it used to be practiced in Canada long time ago, but obviously it's not really such an issue here now. So then I've learned very, very quickly, wow, you think you've got information, Imani, you're going to try to encourage these women to see that this is wrong. It wasn't happening. So I say that to say, if you've believed for such a very long time that, just to go back again, they thought the FGM was fine because it's been done for a long time. They called it culture, they called it tradition. And what I was seeing with my European eyes, perhaps, as much as I know that I'm an African woman, as what I was seeing was money, finances, capitalism. I saw that people were making money for carrying out this practice on their girls. I was seeing the stigma of feeling ashamed if you didn't allow it to happen to your daughter, your niece, etc., and the pressure of that. So now I come back now to religion, and what I'm saying is, you're asking me, how can we change it? Again, I would say education for people to maybe come into the church. I'm sure there's people within all churches, but of course they don't see it as other outside entities, other forces or demons. Of course, not all people believe that. So hopefully there are people that I don't know about who are trying to educate certain areas of the community with regards to religion, that this mental health problem is real and it's serious. And just because we can't always see it like you'd see a cut or an external injury, it's an internal injury, and it needs to be spoken about, and people need to get themselves educated about it. Mental health isn't new. It just happens to be, for some reason, it seems to be very popular at the moment, and people are even self-diagnosing themselves with it, etc. So I'd say education. Yeah.
Well, people that are like listening to this and you know, they go to church or well, whatever spirituality they go to. And they're like, well, you know, God or whoever believes, whoever they believe in, they're like, well, you know, God doesn't make any mistakes. And so in their minds, they're thinking, well, yeah, mental health is a taboo. And because they believe that God doesn't make, is not a God that makes mistake, they're like, well, you know, mental health, you know, must not come from God. It comes from whatever, because God doesn't make a mistake. What would you say to them?
I would say to them, which is going to be difficult for them, that I don't believe it has anything to do with their God at all. The mental health that the young person or people are going through is societal. It has something to do with society, something to do with things that's happened in their family, etc. And here comes the taboo again. Certain things that happen in most families with regards to any form of abuse is a taboo. And often mothers know about it, the family knows about it, and they try and keep it quiet. So, no, I'd say God doesn't play a part in that. And as you know, I don't believe in a God or gods. You know, I think God right now, the whole belief in God is such a big business. I see capitalism in the worship of God. I see abuse. I see lots of different forms of oppression in religions, i.e. racism is an oppression, sexism is an oppression, homophobia, etc. They're all oppressive behaviors and they've all been learnt. And that's really what I see in religion. I see this whole patriarchy, men are in charge, women are more subservient, etc. So, and having said that, as negative as it sounds, I actually still believe that there are good things that can happen in religion, that can happen in people's religions. For example, the coming together of people, the sharing of problems, helping each other out in the community, etc. Of course, there are good things that happen. But I have difficulty when people say this is God's will. Or again, for example, a child's been born with a disability or the child died at birth, it's God's will. So all the bad things that can happen to you, it's like, yeah, it's God's will. That doesn't make sense to me at all, you know? Then what, when good things happen, it's also God's will. No, it doesn't make sense to me. Mm.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your interview, man. It was really, really good, and I'm sure, you know.
In short, what I would just say is that people who are listening and who know, because we can easily self-diagnose ourselves as well,
Yeah,
that we're having mental health issues. You know, we're living in this pandemic, or half a pandemic. I think it's almost over, and many of us can't get to do what we would normally do in terms of like exercising. You and I know that we're both exercising. We really love exercising,
yeah,
and we also know how beneficial it is for our mental wholeness and our mental well-being. So lots of people aren't able to obviously go and see friends and to socialize and so on.
yeah,
This is England, and one thing I'd say about England is there's lots of support out there.
yeah.
So if you're not finding it within your religion, which I'm sure many people are, if you're not finding it within your religion, look up the websites
Yeah,
and find out who you can talk to. The Samaritans are out there.
yeah. There's
See who you
mental
can,
health.
and they're non-denominational, aren't they? They're not religious, are they? They're just going to
No,
listen to
no,
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, find somebody to speak to and get yourself sorted out. Yeah. I sort out myself by speaking to friends. I'm fortunate, I've got friends. I sort myself out by keeping the house clean and clearing things away,
yeah.
and by going for a run every now and then. That's what I do. But other people may turn to other things, different substances that they think may be able to help them. And of course, those things do not help at all, just compounds it. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much for your interview.
Thank you as well, Chidi, and apologize again for that interruption. Yeah.
It's all right.
You have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care.
All right, then. We'll do. Bye bye.
Bye.